It's so easy to buy a lot of things when you're looking through a sale, or maybe you're just seeing a load of adverts pop up on Instagram when you're scrolling one afternoon. I was the exact same too, but I've now entered sort of a bit of an underconsumption era where I'm trying to use a lot more analog things, I'm trying to repair things, and I'm trying to just buy a lot less stuff in general. But what I will say is that I bought 7 things for kind of cheap that have massively improved the quality of my life in a way that I could never have imagined they actually do. So not only are these 7 things fantastic for my bank account, and they've also made me feel a lot less stressed in my day-to-day life, they've also managed to pull me out of that cycle of just buying something every time I see one of my favorite influencers showing it on Instagram. In today's video, I'm going to share with you what those 7 things are, and I am 99% confident that you will be able to feel exactly the same as me if you buy them too. So I'll leave a link to everything down in the description below, but that's enough hanging around. The timestamps are on screen as usual. Let's just get right into the video. The first thing is something that I can put in my pocket, and it's basically almost replaced my phone. But instead of costing like £1,000, you can literally get these online for a couple of pounds. There's about a couple of dollars for all of my American listeners. One of the biggest problems in our day-to-day lives is that we never really feel bored. Anytime there's not something going on, maybe we're on a commute or we're just waiting, we never acknowledge the world around us because we can just get out our phone from our pocket and start scrolling or texting a friend. This got to a point in my life where it was getting really, really bad. I was just habitually reaching for my phone every time I felt a slight lull in my day. But instead, I've started replacing my phone with this little pocket notebook, and it's great for 2 main reasons. First, I can keep track of any observations, any thoughts, any feelings I have throughout the day, and then later put them in my journal, or just dwell on them throughout the day, and if I think they're interesting, I can come back to them. And the second thing is I can use one of these amazing productivity methods that I'm calling either the did-do list or the crash list. Now, these are 2 separate methods, and I made 2 kind of dedicated videos on them, so if you want to check these out, feel free to do that at the end of this. But essentially, the point is, ever since I've been able to just carry around this tiny notebook with me wherever I go, not only am I going on my phone less, but I'm also just feeling a lot more present and a lot happier experiencing the world around me. Okay, and now the second item that has drastically improved my life is a little bit of a weird one. Now, if you've been following the channel for any period of time or you're familiar with any of my content, you'll know that I absolutely love to travel. And about 2 years ago, I was traveling around Mexico with my ex-girlfriend. Now, we were having a great time up until about halfway through the trip, when we both woke up with absolutely killer headaches and the room was smelling of gas. Now, this was really, really bad, folks. So we got to the hospital and the doctor essentially told us that unfortunately we had carbon monoxide poisoning, and that's not even the worst thing. If we stayed in that bedroom for an hour more, we would have died. But obviously, I don't want to experience this awful, awful thing ever again. So every time I travel, I carry around this little portable carbon monoxide detector. I can just put it in the corner of the room, and I kind of forget that it's even there. And I just had that peace of mind to know that that isn't going to happen again. So last year, I had a huge change in my life. And for that first year, I was living really close to Borough Market. I'm sure that even if you've never visited this amazing place in London, you've seen those viral chocolate-covered strawberries, so you know the kind of place I'm on about. Every time I was walking back to my flat, I'd walk past the lavender stand, and I love the smell of lavender and just plants in general. But the biggest problem is that I don't have the discipline or even the memory to remind myself to water the plants and look after them. But with that said, I'm sure you know, and you don't need me to tell you, how amazing plants are at kind of giving you a little bit of dopamine and just making you happy every time you see them. So the third purchase I've made that has actually improved my life has just been these fake plants that I'll dot throughout my room or throughout our flat. I don't have to water them and they stay looking fresh. And for those eagle-eyed viewers, you'll see that this little fake lavender plant is the plant that is featured on a lot of my thumbnails. So in that regard, it's been a great investment as well. What I noticed would happen every now and then when I was on my commute, and I'm sure this must happen with you too, is that I would lose my keys, or at least fear that I've lost them. And I'd get all the way to the front of my flat and realize that they're not actually in my pocket. Now, fortunately, most of the time, they'd just fall into the bottom of my tote bag, or I'd just not check my back pocket. But this made me think that I needed a better system of storing my keys in a reliable place. So the fourth kind of weird thing that I've invested in that has improved my life has been these little carabiners. Carabiners? however you say them. Basically, I just attach my keys to them, and then you can attach them to one of the hooks in your jeans, and you can literally hear them and see them and know that they're there with you all the time. As a little bonus as well, I think they kind of look cool, and I've noticed a fair few people actually in London kind of add this as a little bit of a style accentuation, and I think it looks really cool too. And one of the biggest problems, at least in my experience, has been that plane tickets just keep rising and rising in price. Now, one of the best methods I've found of actually keeping these prices really low is traveling without checked luggage and exclusively traveling with hand luggage. Unfortunately, one of the big issues with that is that I'm sure you know you can't carry any liquids above 100 ml in your hand luggage. And for me, that is a bit of a problem because my favorite hair kind of curl cream is in a 125 milliliter bottle. And I cannot travel to places without this hair care product, let me tell you guys. Fortunately, when I was in Canada, my friend introduced me to these amazing kind of little travel bottles that for some reason I had never known existed before. So what I will now do is just decant all of my hair care products that are over 100 ml into these little bottles. So not only do I need to pay less money when I want to buy a plane ticket, but it's also just better for the environment in general. Now, the sick thing that I've bought that has massively improved my life is a little bit unconventional, so just bear with me. What I recently realized, and what I want you guys to realize too, oftentimes you're not selling the product, you're selling the dream. You might see your favorite fitness influencer wearing a particular brand of clothes and think that you want that t-shirt, whereas in fact you probably want to achieve that kind of same level of fitness, that physique, that fame, that notoriety, that lifestyle instead. It's not the product that you're after, it's actually the lifestyle instead. Your life is going to be so much easier when you stop buying into all of that marketing nonsense. And instead of trying to chase somebody else's dream, it sounds a bit cliche, but you really just want to create your own path in life. So the sick thing that I bought that has made me happier is I've started spending money on experiences rather than things. So these experiences can be a little bit extreme and cost you a lot of money. So for example, I spent a month backpacking around Thailand. But they can also be smaller things, like I might just treat myself to a coffee with a friend. But there is one product that is super important. Actually, no, it is crucial that you buy if you want to feel less stressed, if you want to have more clarity in your life, and if you just want to live a more fulfilling life. And it is a journal. So to understand one of the ways you can actually use journaling in your day-to-day life and stick with it, you're going to want to watch this video here. So I'll see you guys over there.